cheering me on. Oh my God, he's going to fall out, he's going to fall out. And I still had about 12 seconds left. And the referee came over, put his hand on my shoulder and said, son, this game has been decided by halftime. You're ahead by 30 points. It's cold out there. I've got 30 miles to drive and you're holding me up. So I didn't get the fifth foul. And the story about the taverns in town, it reminded me of a wonderful Mark Twain story. He said, Jeff, it's a great little town they're building out here. We got 5 taverns and some talk about building a church.
I got one for Bill. You know, Bill wrote this book. Yeah, Bill and I were in the same class. He was the smart one, I was kind of the laid back one. Anyway, Bill forgot to put in there, when the town boys won the baseball game or ball game we played, we'd always go in the store and say, we beat. And he forgot all about that.
Well, I think we've said what we had to say. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you all for coming and thanks for putting it on.
I just want to ask them a few questions, and one of them I want to have them touch base on is about what it was like dating back when you guys were young. Like, I know, a lot of families only had one vehicle, and they had several children. Who got to use the car? Where did you go? Did you group date? Tell us about what it was like back when you were young and in that dating age.
First thing you got to remember, the gas was less than 20 cents. So anybody that had a car could get, well, a lot of kids and go a long ways. I mean, sometimes they check the mileage when you took the car out. And another one, here was a great place to be, here in the dance hall. And the observation tower is up there. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
All the women were up there watching. Shirley commented on that.
Yes. I can remember my mother saying, I saw you do this, and I told you no more of that. We would go to that end, and that would be down in the basement. And that was a no-no for us young kids. But I tried it one night. My mother sat right up here. I missed the next dance. There was wedding dances all week long.
I remember when they had the teen hop here in this building, and there was anywhere from 300 to 1,200 would show up for this teen hop. And Jack Mahal from Owine used to give away 6-packs of RC, whoever name was drawn or what kind of a dance you did. And I mean, that was rock and roll. And this place was jumping. And talking about dating, oh my God. I had a blind date with the wife I married, and the first thing that came out of her dad's mouth wanted to know if I was a Democrat and Republican. And I said, well, what does it have to take to be one? And I had a lot of fun, and I remember a lot of memories in this town, but I really think the people that lived in this community, they all worked together, and we're very lucky, this historic society, but we're also lucky to have the Kroll family that's put a lot of money back into this town. You go to Nashua and drive down Main Street, and there's nothing left of that town, and they keep this town going. And plus all the other people, like the Curtain Box, and it's really amazing to see this town be as good as it is.
A couple things that I got thinking about. We used to call the teen hops belly rubs. And also there was some great entertainment here. There was a guy who sang up in the corner of that, right up on the stage there, by the name of Harold Jenkins. But you better know him as Conway Twitty. He took his name from Conway, Arkansas, and Twitty, Texas. But I remember him coming up after, before the dance. He and his family had hamburgers and Martin's Cafe. Then he came down and he sang, and he became one of the most famous guys in country music. We had a lot of big band music, and we had an awful lot of Leo Greco and the Cowboys,
Jericho Hot Shots.
Oh, the Jericho Hot Shots, yeah. The Six Fat Dutchmen. I mean, we had it. And then I used to work right in back of here as a hot check boy. We checked the coats in at night, and that's when I got to hate polka music, because about midnight my brother Pat and I were really tired. It was time to go home, and then they'd say, "Do you want one more song?" And I wanted to say, "Hell no." But anyway, the dating was a fun thing, and we made a lot of enemies with the New Hampton guys, because they had the swimming pool, they had the theater, but they didn't have the dance hall. And we got to dance with their girls, and we had a lot of fun, and got a few black eyes out of it, but it was worth it.
The big dancing and everything was going booming here then, before the kids took over. And then bunny hop was the big thing. Well, the bunny hop was outlawed here. All you had to do was go down the basement, and the joist underneath the floor would come down about 2 to 3 inches. Never worried about going to the basement.
All right, Mary and I were looking through some really old newspapers from New Hampton, and so we are in the process of trying to put a collection together about all the Lawler fights. And so some of those articles are just hilarious about the bar fights and the fights in Lawler. The rowdy Lawler people did this. Tell us a little bit about the fights.
Well, I know it was kind of like hockey. There was a fight going on and a dance broke out.
And I must add to it, there were 5 Murray brothers that loved to fight, and nearly every dance, one of the Murrays would be in a fight with Charlie Mim. He was patrolling the crowd. And then I married a Murray. My sons did not do that, thank God.
I can remember a fight in this place. Charlie Mim and Edgar Wurzer and Moran, and they had this guy down in that little bathroom back there, just beating the shit out of him with the billy clubs. And the guy got the billy club, and both of them were laying in. He walked out, and there was blood all over the floor.
Yeah, I wasn't a fighter.
And I neither.
I remember one time in basketball practice, as I told you, I was not very good at basketball or any other sport actually, but I had fun doing it. But as a junior, it was pretty obvious that I wasn't going to make the team the next year. And guys like Greg Timlin were playing ahead of me and some other people. One night at practice, I don't know how this happened, but we just almost at practice, shot up and the ball bounced back, and Greg Timlin and I, Greg was just tougher than nails. And we were both going for a rebound, we missed it. Went up again, we both missed it. Went up the third time, we missed it. And about that time, he won the fight. And all I remember is about 4 guys had him, holding him back, and one guy had me by the elbow. Let me at him.
Okay, and then Bill mentioned some of the old Lawler townspeople. I just want you each to try and think of a story about someone from Lawler. For example, Cootie Keefe. I wrote down these names: Ed McGreevy, Joe Goss, Benny Nolte, Gert or Dent Martin. And just if you can think of a story offhand now, just to tell a story about someone from Lawler, some of those old people you remember.
One I admired was Johnny Tierney. Now his son John Tierney was probably one of the best athletes that ever left Lawler, just a big, good-looking, strong guy, and he went on to coaching and so forth. But his dad came back from World War I, what they used to call shell shock. I don't know what it is now. But he would come in, and he had just the hardest time walking, and had some trembling issues, and he'd come into the gas station every day, and I just loved talking to John. So that's a memory. I'm talking about Johnny the dad, just a terrific guy.
I just want to say one thing about the Murray boys fighting. All 4 of them did leave when he got home from the service, but there was one Murray boy that would take his brother by the neck or wherever he could get, and that was Cleet. Cleet Murray did not fight. He wanted those brothers to get up and leave the hall, but Cleet just, he had a personality, God love him, that he did not fight. But the others, God bless them.
Other fighting, this is way before my time. My uncle always talked about the Sullivan boys were in school, and that was way back. But school had boxing gloves. Well, the boys would start out and they'd throw a couple of haymakers for each one. They'd take the gloves off, and then they really went to fighting.
I remember Halloween time, Annie Eichhoff lived in that house, and us boys used to be in the pear tree, pulling all the pears out, and we came to the back door, and she took the dishwasher pan and threw it all over the face.
Yep. I wanted to say, Marietta Martin, Dent and Gert's oldest daughter, and Patsy Tierney would take me and Joanne Martin with us at Halloween time. They would take us Halloweening. Our mothers would let us go. So the first place that we went always was the Eichhoffs, because they were the rich family of the town. And we thought, let's go there first because they will have good treats. So the girls knocked at the door and put us little girls in front of them, knocked at the door, and Frank Eichhoff had a sister Annie, and neither of them ever married, and Annie came to the door with a big dish pan, so we knew we were getting something good. It was dishwater. She threw all over us. So that was our treat, and we never went back to the Eichhoffs.
That reminds me that Eichhoff is the one that funded the money to build, which we still call it the new church. But he wasn't the most friendly guy in the world. I remember walking up after a snow one time, kind of trembling, knocking on his door to see if he'd be interested in me shoving his walk. He said, "Let the guy that put it there take it off. You're not going to spend it."
All right, and then just one more thing. If you could all tell us a story about one of the Christmases you remember as a child, what it was like when you were children at Christmas time. And I know times were hard, and you can talk about church services, whatever part, but something about a Christmas from the past.
Well, as I mentioned, my Aunt Stella was a telephone operator, and we lived up on 3 or 4 houses south of Main Street, and so just before Santa was about to arrive, they would tell us, Tom and me, the 2 youngest, to go down and wish Aunt Stella Merry Christmas. Now that's like a 3-minute walk, 4-minute walk, something like that. So we'd go down and we'd say, "Merry Christmas, Aunt Stella," and all of a sudden she'd get a call, and they'd say, "Hurry home, Santa's coming." Hey, Santa's there. So we had to haul butt up there. I mean, it took us about 30 seconds to get home, and they were all standing around the stove, which was red hot. We didn't have it was oil-based. I don't know what it was. But anyway, Santa apparently had just gone up that chimney, and I was more worried about him than anything else. And I kind of figured out that's why we probably never met him. He got burnt to death going up the chimney.
I just wanted to say, we were very poor. My dad was killed on New Year's Day, and so we were very poor and we didn't even have running water in our house. And so our Christmases, just my mother and brother and I still tear up thinking about how my mother tried to make that. And she would go in a ditch and cut down a tree, and that would be our Christmas tree, you know, and we really, maybe we would have one gift, one little box under the tree, you know, so I'm not a real Christmas fan, ever. I still tear up, thank you.
About Christmas, sister's presentation, Father Delay, we used to sing Christmas songs on the steps in the school. And after that, and you know, once in a while the boys would push each other, the girls or something, you know, they were mischievous. Anyway, but at the end of the whole thing, Father Delay would give us either an orange or an apple for Christmas.
Any more?
I must say one final thing. Not everything was hunky-dory. My dad took his life when I was 7, and I left mom with 6 kids, and this town was great to us, and I'm forever grateful.
I think we all learned a lot today. It was really fun to listen to your stories, and I just think let's give them a big round of applause. Okay, thank you all for coming. We're going to close up around noon, so if you want to mingle through and look at the exhibits one last time. If you have objects you want to donate, contact any of the members. Okay, we want to get a picture of you guys.